It's almost that time, man. What can you say about it?
Excited, man. Can't wait. It's been a long off season, because I love playing games. I love playing college basketball, so I'm just ready for it to be here. I think we're about 9 days away from the exhibition, so I can't wait to get started.
Speaking of exhibition, man, you're throwing into the fire quick.
For sure.
What has that, or what does that change about the way you guys approach practice and getting things going at the beginning of the season, as opposed to that's usually a game you don't start the season with something like that.
Yeah, PK, he said it time and time again, but he wasn't scared when he was scheduling our schedule. We had some really good games at the very beginning of the season, the middle, end. It never stops. So having Kansas our first exhibition, it's awesome. I love playing in big games like that. But right now, we're focused on practice tomorrow. We're worried about the next thing, just getting better each and every day.
How competitive does practice get? How hard do you guys go at each other? Because I know Kelsey's pretty competitive, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Practice is very competitive. Every day he tries to, incorporate different lineups. When we go 5-on-5, incorporate different teams to get us to challenge one another. And, we're all fighting for playing time, so it's very, very, very competitive. And, it's only going to make us better going against each other every single day because, when you're playing against as good an offense and defense as we have, it's only going to make you better.
What's unique about your skill set on this team? What do you add to the squad?
Yeah, I think I had an ability to stretch the floor, with my shooting. Obviously that's what I'm most known for, but also, I can handle the ball a little bit, run the floor, get transition threes. I think I'm a good passer as well, getting downhill, touching the paint, making the right play. I can add a level of defense as well. That's not necessarily what I'm known for, but, playing for Tony Bennett for a few years, you get pretty good at defense. So, yeah.
Kind of building off that, obviously, when people hear the name Isaac McKneely, they think, okay, threes, and they don't really think of all the other intangibles. Does that irritate you a little bit, thinking that people just know you as the three guy?
I don't know if irritate's the right word, but, I'm looking to prove that I can do more this year. PK told me in the transfer portal, he's going to unleash me is what he said. So, I'm obviously going to continue to do what I do and shoot threes and make them at a high clip, hopefully. But, I'm looking to do more as far as off the dribble, playmaking, touching the paint, stuff like that, just, unleashing my whole game.
And what's it like coming into a team where you're not the only one who can hit threes at a high level?
It's amazing, man. Being surrounded by as good players as I am right now, it honestly takes like a chip off my shoulder. Like I don't have to have as much weight on my shoulders this upcoming year. I have great players around me, and it's only going to make me better playing with other great players and competing in practice every single day as well.
And obviously coming from
Louisville was the best spot for me, and I'm loving it so far.
How do you feel like, you're coming from Virginia to a system that's much faster? What has that transition been like? And, you've also talked in the past about, working with Coach Floyd to get your body ready for it. Just what has that transition been like for you?
Yeah, it's been a lot of time on the bike, a lot of time on the vertical climber, getting my conditioning right. Obviously coming from Virginia, a little bit slower pace. This is a lot different, but I think it benefits my game in a lot of ways. Getting up and down in transition three opportunities. I've been here for about 5 months now, so I'm starting to get used to it a little bit more. But when I first got here in the summer, it took some getting used to for sure. But I'm getting there.
And then what did last season was obviously really tough for you with Coach Bennett, stepping down really close to the season. What did that teach you about being a leader? And how do you feel like you grew as a leader during this season?
Yeah, I almost felt like I was like a player coach last year. I was our most experienced guy on the team. I tried to mentor the younger guys, and obviously the season wasn't going as well as I would want it to, but I think it was a good opportunity for me to grow personally and grow as a player coach in that way, because I think player-led teams are the best teams. So I took a big step in the right direction in that area, and hopefully I can relay that to this team as well.
What are the biggest takeaways from this team so far from the offseason? What have you learned about your guys?
I think we got a group of dogs, man. I knew it on paper. Looking at our team on paper, you can tell we got plenty of dudes. But practicing with them every day, working out with them every day, you see really good players here, man. Really good players. We're having a really good team. The culture here is amazing. It's just brought us all together. On the court really close, but off the court we're even closer, as a team. So I think that's really special for sure.
Was there a certain event that you can think back to where you guys really started to gel as teammates?
I would say our Charleston trip. We took this was like a month ago or so. We took a little weekend trip to Charleston, back where PK and his staff used to coach. And just hung out. We had a practice down there, scrimmaged a little bit. But we just hung out, had a good time, and got to know each other better off the court. And I think we really gelled together then. And, we've never been closer since then.
What were your conversations with Pat Kelsey like in the recruitment process about your role? And even now, just a week before the first game, how have you seen that kind of been put into play for you? I mean, obviously coming off a Virginia team where you were asked to do a lot, you're not going to be put in that position as much this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surrounded by great players. So like you said, not as much as on my shoulders this year, but PK always said in the transfer portal, and he said it over and over, since I've been here, is he's going to unleash me, is what he says. Last year at Virginia and pretty much my whole career at Virginia, I was mainly just a three-point shooter, coming off ball screens, pin downs and stuff and shooting threes. But, this year I'm going to be using a lot more ball screens, handling the ball a lot more. Obviously, like we talked about, getting up and down in transition, getting some more transition threes opportunities. He just says he's going to unleash me. So, we'll see how that goes.
You mentioned that PK was, telling you that he was already talking with Ryan and Adrian about trying to get you all three here together. Did you all have any conversations about, trying to do this together, or was it more so like after you made the decision to start talking to them?
It was after. I hadn't talked to them beforehand. I knew who they were. I was familiar with their games and stuff. And PK, like I said, he was super upfront, honest with me. He wanted all three of us. If he wasn't honest, I would have, maybe went a different direction. But he was honest with me. Even when Ryan and Adrian both committed, I still felt like there was a spot here for me. A lot of people say, why would you do that? But I felt the most comfortable here. I felt like this is the best place for me, and I'm thankful for my decision every single day because I love it here.
Ryan was talking with me last week in Charlotte about how you all shoot together in the mornings and how you'll kind of go over technique and form. When you're on a team with so many great players and talented players, do you kind of find yourself maybe not, I don't know, do you find yourself taking things from them, trying to kind of bounce ideas off each other and trying to get better through this competition?
Of course, when you're playing with as good a player as I am this year, you're always willing to learn. I'm always trying to get better, and on the court and even off the court with film, talking with coaches, talking with my teammates, stuff like that. I'm always willing to pick their brain and become the best player I can be. So we all share our stuff together, and like you said, me and Ryan work out together all the time, and we have shooting battles to see who can be the better shooter, but it's fun. I love my teammates here, and it's awesome.
What's your record in those battles so far?
It's probably about 50-50. I don't know the exact.
Okay. What kind of battle is it? Just different spots so you can make the most in a certain amount of time?
Yeah, we do different drills and stuff, some competition shooting. We change it up a little bit here.
Yeah. PK has mentioned that he's close with Coach Sanchez. Coach Sanchez, they talk back and forth throughout the years. Did you talk with him at all? When you hear from Pat reaching out to you, kind of pick his brain on what he was like all the years?
Yeah, I definitely did. We talked a lot. He wanted me to do what's best for me, and he felt comfortable with PK. He knows PK pretty well, and he said he thinks this is a great spot for me. Obviously we played against him last year, so he was familiar with their style, and like you said, he knows him as a person. He just felt like it was the best fit for me.
I wanted to ask about that. Obviously, you were at Virginia the previous 2 years when things weren't great around here, and came to the Young Center, and it wasn't very full. Last year, when you came here, did it kind of shock you to see just how quickly Pat had turned this program around? I mean, maybe not now that you've been this player for a few months, but just what was that like, kind of seeing just how quickly they turned it around?
Well, growing up, you think of Louisville basketball, you think of a great city, a basketball city. The city relies on basketball to be good, and so when I first came to college and Louisville wasn't up to that standard, it was kind of upsetting in a way, because these are one of the reasons that you really look forward to playing in. I love playing in big road games, and my first 2 years it really wasn't that, but now ever since PK's been here, the fans, he just ignited the fans again. Playing there last year, I think it was one of the bigger crowds that I played against ever in my life, and now I'm excited to be on this side of it now. Have the Louisville fans behind us. 22,000 in the Yum Center is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Thank you. I spoke with your man Day at tip-off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Crazy. He's going all the way over to the West Coast.
Yeah, he's
in
on
the
the
ACC.
town now. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Hey, good luck this season. We'll
Nice
be
to meet
there.
you. Yes, sir.
We'll be at a lot of games.
Sounds good.
Looking forward to
Nice
it.
to meet you.